The story percolating more than anything else right now, as we speak, okay, is the war with Iran.
So Stephen A. Smith just delivered a blistering takedown of political dysfunction while Americans face real consequences overseas. He's connecting dots between partisan gridlock and actual lives at stake. This is vintage Stephen A., cutting through political BS to focus on what matters. Let's break this down.
As of today, a few hours ago, as many as 140 U.S. service members have been wounded so far. The conflict is believed to have disrupted global oil markets, and gas prices have surged nationally.
Those aren't abstract numbers. 140 wounded service members means 140 families getting life-changing phone calls. When oil markets spike, that hits every American at the pump within days. This is exactly why the partisan games being called out here have real-world consequences that can't be spun away.
1 in 4 Americans say they back U.S. strikes on Iran. That means 3 out of 4 said hell to the no. That's 75% of the American population that are being polled, that's saying hell no. We don't like this one bit.
That 75% opposition number is devastating for any administration. Compare that to Gulf War polling in 1991, 76% public support. The disconnect between what Americans want and what politicians deliver has never been starker. This represents a complete breakdown in representative democracy.
The big political risk for President Trump is the economic fallout that exists here. The minute you go to the gas pump and the price of gas is $4 a gallon, you got a problem. We can sit up there and strike it any way we want. So this is a big, big risk.
Gas prices are political kryptonite. Ask Jimmy Carter about 1979 or George W. Bush in 2008. Every dollar increase costs roughly 2.4 million votes historically. When your foreign policy decisions hit Americans' wallets weekly, the electoral math becomes brutal regardless of party.
The politicians on Capitol Hill and the power that they wield and how what's at the real core of our problems as Americans right now is the fact that we can't trust a single damn decision that's made because it's too tilted to one side of the aisle over the other.
This trust deficit is measurable. Congressional approval has averaged just 20% over the past decade. When every major decision splits perfectly along party lines, Americans know it's not about merit anymore. It's pure political calculation, and voters see right through it.
See, if you have bipartisanship, and you had an abundance of Democrats voting with the Republicans and a bunch of Republicans voting with the Democrats, we could at least say we're unified as a government, as a nation, and we're comfortable with whatever decision they make because we know that whether we agree or disagree, they're making decisions that are in the best interest of America as opposed to their party. And we'd be cool with that because we'd be more self-assured.
Remember the 1990s when major legislation regularly passed with 60 to 70 bipartisan votes? The crime bill, welfare reform, even impeachment had some crossover support. That era of governing feels like ancient history now, but it proves functional democracy is actually possible in America.
Don't you hate when you see as American citizen when the Democrats in lockstep vote on one side and the GOP in lockstep vote on another? I'm in a room with 6 people. 6! I can assure you without asking them a single damn question, we don't agree on everything. But we agree on something.
The incentive structure is completely broken. Politicians get rewarded by donors and primary voters for being maximally partisan. Compromise gets you primaried out or accused of betraying the base. The system literally punishes the behavior that would actually solve problems.
But the Democrats and the Republicans will act like that doesn't exist. There's no possible way we could possibly agree. No possible way. We could agree on stuff like the Epstein files. Oh, we could cross the aisle and to find out who was screwing around with who was molesting or sexually assaulting minors. Oh, we could come to an agreement on that. But nothing else.
Perfect example of selective cooperation. When politicians want something investigated that serves their interests, suddenly bipartisan collaboration works fine. But infrastructure, healthcare, immigration, issues affecting millions daily somehow become impossible to find common ground on. The hypocrisy is staggering.
Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act will require Americans to provide documentary proof of United States citizenship, such as a passport, a birth certificate, or naturalization papers when registering to vote in federal elections. Seems very simple to me.
Voter ID. Polling consistently shows 70 to 80% public support across party lines, yet it becomes this massive partisan battlefield. This is textbook manufactured controversy, taking something most Americans agree on and weaponizing it for political advantage instead of just solving it.
Last time I checked, I don't recall a single incident in my adult life where I did not need an ID to do something. Got to have a driver's license. You understand? If you want to get tickets on Ticketmaster, you got to have some form of ID. You want to go up and pick up tickets at a game, you got to have an ID. You want to pay for something at the supermarket and it ain't cash, or the department store and it ain't cash, you got to show ID even while you're giving them a credit card to charge your stuff to your credit card. You're literally paying and giving them money, and they're saying, show me some ID.
The ID requirement for basic transactions makes this argument irrefutable. You need ID to buy alcohol, open bank accounts, rent cars, even enter federal buildings. The idea that voting, our most sacred civic duty, requires less verification than buying beer is genuinely absurd.
If Kristi Noem, the now former Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, could spend up to $300 million on private jets, if you got that much money to blow, why don't you just make sure that every United States American citizen has a form of government ID that is freely distributed? That way we make sure true, legalized American citizens are the ones with ID, and you eliminate those who are here illegally.
Now that's problem-solving thinking. The federal government spent $300 billion on COVID relief fraud, but can't fund universal voter ID. Estonia gives every citizen digital identity cards. Georgia provides free voter ID. The solutions exist, political will doesn't.
Because both sides of the aisle can't agree. How much you want to make a bet, and I'd bet my check that the Democrats would have a problem with that idea and the Republicans would have a problem with that idea. Because the notion of fixing and resolving the immigration issue doesn't benefit either side, because it would eliminate the argument that they could make for a midterm election or a general election.
This is the key insight. Permanent problems equal permanent fundraising. Immigration has been a political football for 40 years because solved problems don't generate donations or voter turnout. Both parties benefit more from the issue existing than from actually fixing it.
Because while we are engaging in acts of war, even if war has not been declared, it's based on the decision of an administration and a side of the aisle that's going to march lockstep with him in all likelihood, no matter what, because it's politically expedient for them to do so, and the other side ain't going to do it because it's politically expedient for them not to do so. That's what we're living in. You see why I say all the asses make me sick.
War powers have become completely partisan. Republicans supported military action under Bush, opposed it under Obama. Democrats opposed it under Bush, supported it under Obama. The Constitution says Congress declares war, but political expedience trumps constitutional duty every single time.
It's in our refusal and our inability as elected representatives in this country to prioritize reaching enough of a consensus so the American people that they collect billions from in tax dollars and beyond can find a way to live in peace.
This captures the fundamental betrayal perfectly. Americans pay trillions in taxes expecting functional government in return. Instead, we get theater designed to win elections rather than solve problems. The social contract is broken and everyone knows it except the people we elected.